What's up, party people? Welcome back to another episode of Party XP. I'm your
Nailed
host,
it.
Jeff, and joining me is Lakan. Say hi, Lakan.
Hello, everyone.
You like Mario?
Of course I love Mario. Come on.
Okay, great. Because the game that I came across a few weeks ago and I have been absolutely obsessed with is a very, very Mario-like game. So we played Pseudo Regalia a few episodes ago, and you can go back and check that out, which is kind of like an homage to like PS1 third-person platformers, right?
Yeah.
So the game that I have here is kind of an homage to Mario, like 3D Mario games. It's supposed to be a Mario 64 sort of game, but it's not. It turns out it's going to be more of like Bowser's Fury, if you played that, and a little bit of Mario Odyssey too,
Ooh.
just with the way that it moves.
Okay.
The game is called Kero's Quest 64, and it is a game that was originally started by a guy named Brodude,
Good
who
name.
made Mario 64 like ROM hacks.
Okay. Cool.
And so after making a ton of Mario 64 ROM hacks, he was just like, well, I could just make my own game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he partnered up with this other person, Melon Speedruns, and Melon Speedruns did the Zelda randomizers for certain Zelda games. So they got together, and then they added a few other people to their team. Ridiculous R, composer, Jamphibious. Ridiculous R does all the models for the game and stuff like that.
Okay.
So these four, and I'm sure there are other people behind the project as well, announced a Kickstarter for the game. And unsurprisingly, a game that looks really cute and plays fantastically, doubled its Kickstarter goal.
Awesome.
So it wanted £20,000. I think these are pounds. I
Oh,
can't tell.
they're British. Tuesday.
Oh no, these are
innit?
euros.
Oh.
They're at least the one guy is German.
Ah.
So it wanted 20,000 euros. It got 47,000 euros.
Mm.
And yeah, it's slated to come out next year, but there's a demo out of the game now that is pretty lengthy. And once you kind of play it, it kind of combines that Mario 64 level select where you jump in through the paintings,
Mm-hmm.
but then the stars are all available for you kind of in the way that Odyssey and Bowser's Fury are. And the levels are kind of open worldy like Bowser's Fury if you've played that.
Yeah.
And it kind of controls a little bit like the newer Mario games, I'd say. So like it's definitely an homage to the N64 games by its aesthetics and kind of I think the motivation behind it, but it really quickly turns into like you're realizing you're playing a modern game with not even really like 64-bit graphics, because it looks way prettier than that. I don't think this is 64-bit, or it's supposed to be 64-bit, but it's definitely supposed to be an homage to Mario 64. It turns out being just an homage to 3D Mario, and it's great. Like I already played through. I've played maybe about 15 minutes of it, and I'm ready to get back into it. I want to play more of it. I just figured I put it on our radars, right? And see what you thought, because I know how much we love Mario, especially the new 3D Marios, and this game kind of has that same feel to it, but it is an indie game, so it does come with that certain charm as well that indie games can provide. So, like I said, I want to put this on your radar, see what you thought. There's a demo on Steam now, so let's check it out. We'll give it a shot here for a little bit, and come back together and discuss. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I'm looking at it right now on Google, just looking for images for it, and yeah, very, very like heavily inspired by that games at the time, basically. Yeah, this is cool. I'm down for it.
Yeah, like I said, it definitely feels like a modern platformer, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So for Lakan and I, it'll be a couple of weeks, maybe a week or two. For you guys, it'll be just a few seconds. We'll see you on the other side and talk more about Kero Quest 64.
See you in a bit.
All right, it's been a while, but we're back.
In person.
Yeah, we are in person.
Touching Jeff's toes.
Nope. My schedule has changed, so we need to do this in person for a little while. But anyway, Lakan, how was Kero Quest?
Yo, this is awesome, and I can't wait. When does this game actually come out? Because I'm legitimately like waiting at this point. Like this game rules.
That is probably something we should have had at the
okay,
ready.
there we
Let's see though, because I do have it in my thing.
Not like we've been doing this for 2 years at this point. Like
Listen, I was just you gave me a free toy, so I've been playing with it all afternoon.
got distracted.
Yeah. But no, so it's I think it's coming out this year.
Sick.
And I know I'm so excited for it. What did you love about it?
The movement is a nice middle ground between 64 and Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you saying before it's more Odyssey than 64. To me, it's just right in the middle. There's one thing I didn't like, but overall, experience-wise, aesthetic-wise, like the graphics for the game, the fact that it has this like kind of like semi-low polygonal look to it, threw me off because the game was still running at like 144 hertz.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I wish there was like a 60 hertz or like a 30 FPS filter on it, kind of thing, kind of like how Pseudo Regalia had. But yeah, no, it felt really smooth. It ran perfectly fine, no crashes or anything. So even in its demo state, it runs really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, the movement's really good. The sound design's really nice. Again, it just invokes a lot of that, like N64, PS1, 3D platformer feel basically, and it's like it's right there in the nostalgia feels basically.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of felt like the gameplay was for Odyssey and 3D World and a little bit of 64.
Mm-hmm.
The locale kind of felt very Super Mario Sunshine-esque.
A little bit, yeah,
right?
And a little bit like almost like Donkey Kong 64-ish, almost just because it was very tropical looking in a lot of spots.
Yeah, I get that. So it's just kind of like this perfect marriage of everything that you're used to.
Yeah.
You're just playing as a different character now, and the game runs like a PC game. Right?
Yeah. Also, a nice little fun little bit for myself is like there's a tongue mechanic.
Yeah.
Which you can use to like grapple. Essentially, it's a grappling hook.
Yeah.
Also to collect coins.
Mm-hmm.
So it reminded me a lot of like Chameleon Twist.
Yeah.
Which a bit of a niche game right at this point now because like it's not as big as the other big 3D platformers. But like having that, cool, again, essentially like a whip or grappling hook kind of utility gets a little bit of the collectathon feel.
Right.
Sometimes I'm just like, I'm lazy. And especially once I started speedrunning the game a little bit, it's just like, oh, okay, now I know how to use this thing and kind of like, mess a little bit more with how the game actually runs and works.
Yeah, right. So the gist is basically you play as this little frog guy and he's trying to save his hometown or his homeworld from, Big Bad, right?
Yeah.
There's some sort of big bad out there. I'm sure the full game will go into it a little bit more. So right off the bat, the game introduces you kind of like to this tutorial section. Like you get this little jungle gym, basically. It teaches you how to use Kero's moves and all his movement options available to you. And then it introduces you to like the star mechanic, basically, which is like these little black
diamond shards,
diamond looking things. Yeah.
Looks like the crystal shards from like the Kirby game.
Kind of.
64.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's kind of where it starts you, and then it brings you around into, I guess, the first world or the only world. I don't know if there was a second world, but
there's like, yeah, I think it's only one world, but there's like three-ish sections in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because there's like there's both sections have water already.
Right.
So like Shroom Goon, whatever it's called.
Shroom Goon.
I don't know. I already forgot the name of the place because like honestly, like I was just like gameplay. I did not. I like it again tickled that like speedrunner part of my brain really quickly, and I was like, cool. This is like a more vertical spot. The other one is more platform heavy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the two. So the jungle gym area, you go into like a second area which forks into the two other locations basically. And the first one's more like basic platforming. It's a simpler-ish area. The other area gets very, very tall.
Yeah.
And allows you to like take shortcuts around the big ass map. So jump from the top, end up on like a really far platform instead of going all the way around kind of thing.
Definitely. It kind of felt like Bowser's Fury in that regard, where
a little bit.
You kind of go in through the painting, and then but on the other side isn't just this centralized world where you get one star, you get kicked back out, you go back in. The game is fluid in that you can collect these collectibles, right? You collect the shards, you collect the coins and whatnot, and then you can just keep going. Kind of like how Bowser's Fury is, where it's like this open world-esque kind of feel. And I really appreciated that. I thought that was a really modern touch that worked really well on this retro-inspired game.
Yeah, and I did a little bit of research afterwards. Again, terrible with names, but apparently the person who was developing or the lead developer, I guess, of this game, they were a Mario 64 modder.
Yeah, they were.
And
we talked about that in the first half.
Yeah, and like I did a little bit more digging, and I was like, oh, they're the person who did, I think, the mod that doesn't kick you out of the location.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're also the same person who did the one for Odyssey.
Did he do the Brian Griffin N64 mod?
I don't know about that. What the hell is that?
It's just you play as Brian Griffin in Mario 64.
Sick.
That's it.
Jeez.
Sorry.
But yeah, okay. But yeah, like that's one of like the annoyances, right? Of when I play like Mario 64 or any of the collectathon games,
Yeah.
right? Where sometimes the game forces you out, and basically you have to like soft restart,
Right.
or like especially if you're a speedrunner, like it's constantly getting kicked out, and then like okay, well now I have to like unsave my game and do it again, so see if I can get a better time and practice it.
Hmm.
But here, yeah, like especially if you leave an area and come back to it, you do get like a shadow shard in that location.
Yep.
You can like kind of practice your way through there, kind of thing again,
Definitely.
and not get kicked out again. Because that's the part that's really annoying.
Yeah. For me, I'm sure a lot of this stuff will be cleaned up, but I was just so impressed on how the movement was
Yeah, yeah.
in this. Like that's just the first thing when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is a cool idea. This is a cool game. I'm gonna check it out and see how it goes. And then once I finally got my hands on it, I was like, yo, holy shit, this is it. This is the game I've been looking for because I've wanted this platformer style on a PC game for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and it always kind of felt like they're always stuck on consoles. So to
Yeah,
finally
yeah,
have something that feels like this on a PC game
mm-hmm.
is stellar. And I'm not
Yeah.
emulating it either. I'm playing it on natively.
Natively on PC.
Right.
Yeah,
It's great.
there was two things that threw me off.
Okay.
One is because again, it feels again kind of a middle ground between 64 and Odyssey.
Right.
The tongue mechanic is on square or Y technically on the Switch controller, right?
Right.
And I keep wanting to do the dive, like the hat dive.
Yes.
And I'm just like, that's not it. I keep doing it, but it's just because my brain's programmed at this
Right.
point, right? Like, I've spent so much time with Odyssey and doing like not speed running it, but like doing like speed run strats.
Right.
You're just messing around at this point because I already
Right.
played
Because the
game.
movement's fantastic in that game too.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
you want to be able to do all the cool tricks that you see people do in this game at a high level. And a lot of that involves throwing the hat and bouncing off the hat, right?
Mhm, exactly. And then the other thing that threw me off is the wall cling
Yeah.
because I didn't find a use for it. Because like again, a lot of times I'm just immediately jumping off the wall anyway,
Right.
so I couldn't figure out when I'm supposed to use it.
Maybe it's not for something that's in the game right now.
Possibly.
Right.
That's the assumption essentially. When I got through the first playthrough of it,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay. It also could be like a salvage, like a save your jump kind of thing. Say you
Right.
flubbed something, you're like, okay, can I get the extra like half second that it gives you of stall time to try to
Yep.
figure out can I save a jump somewhere?
Yep.
Again, I just ended up not really using it even when I started like doing the speed run kind of playthroughs essentially afterwards. But again, if it's something that's down the line, I'm cool to see where it goes and what they
Right.
decide to do with it. But that's only like that was my only two real nitpicks about the game. Again, it's just a demo right now, but it's still very very fleshed out already.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, if this is what the full game is going to feel like after some polish, like I'm super excited to play it. I can't wait to get my hands on this because I've missed this. We haven't had a platformer like this since Mario Odyssey. It feels like I don't know. I mean, Astrobot is definitely there, but that's kind of stuck in on PlayStation Island.
Yeah, and it's simpler.
Yeah.
It's much simpler. Like that's more of like essentially it's just a giant commercial for PlayStation,
Right.
which is fine because it's still a good game.
Right.
But it is very simplified, right? Is like you're not getting all the tech basically
Yeah.
of like the other 3D platformers. Again, like I'm gonna allude like to like Pseudo Regalia because obviously it's like it's a very much so in that same vein of like
Yeah.
inspired by retro 3D platformers. Pseudo Regalia gave me a sense of freedom because you can kind of cheat your way through a lot of movement stuff. It feels like how when you play Odyssey or you play Mario 64 and you're really good at like the platform stuff, it's like, oh, I'm breaking the game when I'm doing
Yep.
so, which is funny because again, Pseudo Regalia, they're like, no, we want you to try to
Right.
find your way up these weird things and can you skip half the powers and just try to get to this kind of location kind of thing, right? This one feels more dialed in terms of like, no, there are rules here. There's some speed run stuff that's really going on, like just exiting the game and then reloading it so you can load up in the beginning of the area again, which brings you closer
Yeah.
to like in the next section. But it feels more like as of right now, because again it's still early, it's still only demos, a small section of the game. I haven't found ways to quote unquote break the game yet.
Right.
That's basically it so far for me. But like again, I'm sure that the more I play it and when the game finally comes out, we're gonna start seeing some like crazy shit happening. Like when the speedrun strats actually start showing up.
Yeah, definitely. That's always exciting. It always kind of feels like a platformer really gets like its wings when somebody starts to speed run it, and you
Yes.
see just how crazy the movement is, and you find like glitching through walls, glitching through
Mhm.
assets, things like that. And that's really when it kind of gets turned on its head. Is when I feel like the platformers are at its best. Like I love watching GDQ and it's all like the speedrunners doing even just like Donkey Kong Country. Like I've beaten
Yeah,
Donkey
yeah.
Kong Country a million times, but I will always sit down and watch a Donkey Kong
Mhm.
speedrun at GDQ because it's so cool to watch them break this game and do all the tricks and stuff like that. Like the I don't know what it's called anymore. I forget what it's called, but basically like it puts you in like a barrel state and it sends you across the entire stage.
Okay.
And so you just like skip the whole stage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just cool shit like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing that with Kero Quest, seeing
Mhm.
people that are better than me at platformers go nuts and like really, really break this game wide open.
Have you checked out any of the speedrun leaderboards already for it?
No, nope,
Okay.
haven't done any of that stuff. I just played, my stuff and that was it. Like I didn't want to spoil too much. I didn't want to like get super into it because I still wanted there to be some surprises.
Okay, because like I did a little bit of digging, like, very light.
Right.
I literally just went like on YouTube,
Yeah,
Kero Quest demo speedrun,
yeah.
and I'm seeing some people already in like the 7, like 8. I think it's like 8-minute mark.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
because like my first playthrough was like 35-ish to
Yeah.
It's a relatively short demo,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you're kind of just playing the game,
Yep.
as it's I guess meant to be played, right?
Right.
If you're playing the game relatively honestly, and then on my first quote unquote speed run, I got it down to like 20-ish minutes.
Yeah.
Obviously there's some like route optimizing kind of going on. Like that's obviously I got to learn how to do little shortcuts
Right.
and stuff like that. That's how I learned how to like, jump from the top of stuff and do like long jumps essentially and start like, okay, let me skip this. Can I grapple to this and like, just like launch myself off these like bouncing mushroom platforms. Okay, cool. That's how we
Right.
get there. Let's see. Let me pull it up real quick because I remember seeing they've already got like actual splits like already on the website.
Nice.
How many playthroughs did you get through on during your time with the
Oh, I
game?
just played it the one time.
Just the one time. Okay.
Yeah, that was it. I just played it through the one time.
Okay,
And
I was diving already at this point because again the movement kind of like just like
sucked you in a little.
a little bit, yeah. I lied. The right now the record is currently 7 minutes and 34 seconds in game time.
Nice.
Overall time 8 minutes and 11 seconds.
Okay.
And all the top 6 are USA. Let's go.
Nice. USA.
I watched like one of the speedruns on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, they're already figuring shit out.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
Right.
like I've already like figured out some like route optimization. Again, they like learned how to skip some of the animations already.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. So like this is gonna be big when it finally hits.
Who would have thought a game by a modder, speedrunner, adjacent kind of person would take off in the speedrunning community?
Yeah, right. So surprised.
Yeah,
Surprised here. Not like they were already optimizing the game in the first place.
Right, for
No
sure.
big deal.
Right. Anything else on your end? I know this is a little short, but it's a short demo, and I just wanted to kind of put it on everybody's radar because it is something that's definitely on my radar. So
Yeah. A little bit like controller comfort here. I did play with a SN30 Pro stock controller.
Okay.
Because it just made sense to me. Like, oh, old school platformer. Let me grab one that feels like a Super Nintendo controller.
right.
You can also play with mouse and keyboard, which throws me off.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
So cool for the camera movement,
Yeah.
but like I can't even fathom trying to play a 3D platformer like this with a mouse and keyboard. This would
Nope.
throw me the hell off.
Nope.
I
I played with an Xbox controller.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Like everything else in life, I just played it with an Xbox
Yeah.
controller.
That was like just the fact that I saw like, oh, it does run keyboard as an option. I have no idea how that works because
No.
the game utilizes an analog controller.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it makes sense in that. Obviously, like it's obvious. It's like, this should be played with the controller, but I'm like, I want to see some like top tier like
Keyboard runners.
Yeah, like I want to see like how sick it gets. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because like I'm sure like eventually there's gonna be like a physics workaround where they swing the camera. You know what I mean? And like
Right.
they change momentum. They find a way to like cheat momentum that way or
Right.
whatever. But yeah, like just looking forward to when this game actually comes out. It scratches that itch really, really well. If you are a fan of Odyssey, Mario 64, again, they're the closest analogs to this game so far
Definitely.
because the movement is right smack dab in the middle for me, in my
Yep.
opinion. If you're a fan of those games, check this
Yeah.
demo out. Do we have a date though of the release date?
It just said to be announced.
Okay.
When I looked it
So
up on the
hopefully
store
this
page.
year then.
Yeah, definitely hopefully this year because I want to play it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, guys, check it out. It's on Steam. There's a free demo, relatively short, but it's really, really fun.
Yeah, no excuses. It's free. It's not that like graphically intensive. You can make it graphically intensive,
Yeah.
but it's not really all that graphically intensive. Go ahead and grab it. I just think it's so much fun and support indie games, especially with the way things are going these days for these developers, man. Go support an indie game.
Absolutely.
That's what I would say. So yeah, if you made it this far, thanks for joining us. Be sure to like us, follow us, subscribe, all that jazz. share us with your friends. Listen to us when you're driving your Uber around, and subject it to all your passengers. Whatever, man. We'll be back with more indie stuff or whatever else going on in the future. So see you next time. See ya. Hello. Get this. Oh, you got your hands full. Well, it's Baja Blast. I got Baja Blast.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, yo, I gotta try the bottle
Yeah.
version.
It's really good. Shit.
I'll sit at your desk.
Oh God, your ass.
Sorry.
Hey, Jamie.
I won't judge
Jamie.
you for your porn.
Jamie. Jamie. Look that up.